On March 28, 2025, a 7.7 earthquake struck Myanmar and Thailand, leaving us with unnerving scenes of the earthquake's power and devastation as cranes toppled everywhere, buildings collapsed everywhere, and even bridges were bouncing all over the place. Rooftop pools and water tanks were bursting at the seams, while many buildings were left unusable and will probably have to be demolished. There were scenes of nurses trying to save babies in hospitals during the earthquake. Amazing footage, and people who barely escaped with their life. We are going to look at why some buildings came crashing down to the ground, while other buildings sort of stood their ground and just kept swaying to the music. I'll show you videos that display the awesome strength and physics behind earthquakes. And these unnerving videos will show us just how mankind always tries to outsmart nature. Now, Microsoft AI software analyzed some satellite images, and it showed that 515 buildings had 80 to 100% damage, and 1,500 buildings had 20 to 80%. So as of the time of this video, there was a private school that had 40 students and 2 teachers were killed, when you can see here in this photo that it collapsed. And then there was also a monastery where 200 Buddhist monks had been killed as well. So it was pretty serious. And overall, they say that there's over 10,000 buildings across Myanmar that have collapsed or become severely damaged. And there was amazing rescues from the rubble of rescuing people alive and pulling them out safe. Amazing in some of these collapses. And residents everywhere were catching the most incredible videos of these building collapses. Everywhere you look, there's video of buildings coming down, temples coming down, kids stuck in the rubble of buildings that need to be rescued, buildings that are leaning, people in the streets not knowing where to go or what to do. And check this one out. This is the 2 tall buildings that were swaying in Bangkok, and the bridge between them is falling apart. But if you look where that green arrow is, you can see a man that jumped across the bridge as it was cracking. That's got to be the luckiest guy in Bangkok today, surviving that earthquake. And it's amazing how these tall buildings all just swayed. Look at these 2. They're swaying left and right there. And that's exactly what you want them to do. What you don't want them to do is sway too far or just snap in half. That's why they're flexible like this. Now, this one was really scary here. A window washer got caught hanging on the building there, and he's just hanging on for dear life as that water tank on top of the building is unloading over him. And luckily he's sort of off to the side, but there'll be some parts of it where you'll see just a lot of water is ending up on top of him. And here's another very scary one right here. So this crane, at the same time that you can see the water tower is emptying its contents from the top of the building. And so here's another view of it, and you can see why I always warn people about staying away from cranes, even when there's not an earthquake. Just walk across the street or away from it, get by it as fast as you can. This one is very unnerving here. Can you imagine driving across this cable-stayed concrete bridge and feeling it bounce around like that? It looks like it's moving up maybe 10 feet or so. So let's take a closer look at the many angles that we have of this tower collapsing in Thailand. Based on the reports, this was the only tower we know of that collapsed in Bangkok, and it was built in a partnership between the Italian Thai Development PCL and the China Railway No. 10 Engineering Group. So that should tell you something right there. So the building had been topped out a year before in April 2024, and it was only 30% done in construction when it collapsed. This was the State Audit Office building under construction. But here you can see it coming down, and there goes the crane. And then here is another clip taken from down the street from a different angle. And this one doesn't show the collapse, but you can see when they zoom in, you can see the crane is swaying front to back big time. And here's another view from the street, and you can hear the people just panicking as they run away. And then here, again, someone captured it from a different angle, but look, they had the camera off of the tower when the collapse started. but at least they captured some of it coming down. Now this video shows it with the best clarity of where and how it started. It looks like it started up near the top, and we're going to show this again in slow motion so we can analyze the top of it there. I slowed it down 5x here for you so you can see the progression of the collapse from the roof. So if we go back here to the beginning of it, let's take a look at the building. Now, first of all, make sure you realize that, look how it's smooth down the left edge. So this is just before everything started to go south on it. Now, I can't tell if it looks like this column here is leaning to the right a little bit. Doesn't it look like it's not going quite straight? And that there might be something wrong with these two. That's what I'm a little uncertain of. It just looks like we have, across this level here, we have some sort of imbalance in the